We are live.
And we are live. Hello, friends. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night somewhere in the world. I'm right, and good morning from Tokyo. Welcome, and thank you for joining me. This is Three Questions at Dr. Flo's Place. But first, who am I? So I'm Florence. Friends, colleagues, and their kids call me Dr. Flo, not my kids. To my kids, I am I am Mama. Excuse me, and I help women thrive as queens after surviving what I call toxic life experiences, and I do this because I believe recovery after toxicity, intimate partner abuse, domestic violence, grief, bereavement. I believe that recovery can go beyond surviving. I know that you can reclaim your power, you can create a life you love, and you can thrive as a queen. So I'm the organizer of the Thriving as Queens Facebook group and the Survivor to Queen Academy. But today at Dr. Flo's Place, we'll be talking with a business expert, Joe DeChara. I'm so glad to have him on the show. He's the CEO of Bedrock Business Builders over in Flushing, New York, offering business consulting and management consulting, and very importantly, tax advisory services. So Joe is a serial entrepreneur. He's a CPA with over 35 years of experience, and he's also the founder of Bedrock University, where you can learn, play, and grow with the best entrepreneurs in the world. So today, Joe is helping solopreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, build their business foundations on Bedrock. And we are so glad to have you at Dr. Flo's Place today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Flo. I'm honored that you asked me to do this, and I want to congratulate you on how far you've come. Because a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you were doing Facebook Lives, but
No.
You're becoming a natural.
Thank you. Thank you. I was doing them hiding away in my group, but thanks to a lot of support, probably your support, I guess, I'm here today, and I really appreciate that. So I'm always interested in the journey. So Dr. Flo's Place would like to know how did you get into what you are doing now? Like all the things we talked about, how did you get into where you are and what you're doing now?
Oh, man. I think I'm a lot older than you, so it took me a lot longer. It's been a lot longer journey. How did I get here? I believe by divine intervention. I believe that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I could have been where I am, mentally, spiritually, and even with, I don't know about my business, but I could have been doing this 30 years ago. And when I say this, I mean basically teaching entrepreneurship, helping people organize their business, and just being an entrepreneur, So the short answer is I don't know. I was just meant to be here, Dr. Flo, doing exactly what I'm doing.
And I love how you say you were just meant to be here. I think that's such a gift to be able to do work that is just aligned with your purpose and who you are. I really think that's a gift, and I think that's what we all strive for, whether we know it or not. I think that's part of our journey in starting a business or changing a job and all that. So again, thank you for having us. So we'll go straight into it. We have three questions from.
Oh wait, that didn't count as a question?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was the
No.
warm-up question. I thought I only had two to go.
We actually
Wow, okay.
we actually have three questions.
Okay.
So our first question is from Addie. She's from Edmonton in Canada, and she would like to know, What are your tips for newbies, of course, and how to start well?
Wait, what is
your tips for newbies, people coming into business, just starting out in business, and then how to start well. So your best tips for people just starting out, that's one. And then the second part is how to start well. So that's two questions in one.
the first, I don't know if it's advice or just information, which is the fact that it's not a sprint. If you're going to be in business, even, I have a whole nother story with that because my mom just proved me totally wrong, but forget about that. If you're going to go into business seriously, it's going to be a step-by-step process. So how would, I have to come up with an analogy here. It's like crossing a bridge. Like you think you could see the other side, but it's a really rickety bridge. And every plank, you don't know if you step on it, if you're going to so what we do is we try to run across the bridge. We try to run across it. And meanwhile, yeah, 1 out of a billion make it, and you say, oh, but Richard Branson, he did it, and this guy did it. And that. But they don't know that they probably got rescued off the bridge. They probably fell, 800 times. So we're but it's in our nature to run across the bridge. So, and I want to run across the bridge, but I learned that first I gotta, maybe I have a rope or somebody holding me before I take the next step.
Right.
And that's what I would tell, and sometimes it's even seasoned entrepreneurs. Sometimes we just gotta remember, slow down. There's a sequence to how things happen.
Right. There's a sequence to how things happen. Slow down. Awesome. Thank you. And so to question number 2.
Wait, is this question 2 or is this part 2 of the first question?
Okay, this is part 2 of the first question. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I got a feeling you're going to be asking me 20 questions. You just say, oh, it's only going to be 3.
You don't always get the opportunity, so I want to get everything in there.
But I'm just trying to draw the boundaries here, So, okay, so part 2 of the first question.
How to start well.
Start with a purpose. You start with, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I want to do. Trying to figure that out is part of the journey.
Right.
Like I said, what I'm doing now, I do a lot of teaching. I love creating courses. I love doing masterminds, right? I look back at my career. I actually put my career on Post-its, different clients and different jobs. And I looked at and do you know that I was doing that in another form 30 years ago? I was having library workshops, we call them. And I would teach people exactly what I'm talking about now, how to set up a business. And it dawned on me. I was like, oh my, I was already here. And what drove me away, doctor, and this is important, was I didn't think those kind of people could afford me. I said, how can I make a business with people that are just starting a business?
Right.
And it's funny, I loved it. But it was because what happened was, started getting big clients, and then I just went with it. I followed the money instead of following, but I was young and inexperienced. So I feel like, maybe I had to go through that for this exact purpose. Like right now, it's like, listen, when you got that in your gut, like you're like, I got to do this. All you need to do is figure out how to make it into a business. And that's what I do.
Right. 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 So all we have to do when we identify purpose is to figure out how to make it into a business and how to profit by it, offering service and profit by it.
It's pretty simple to me because, over time, what you do, after you see it 10,000 times, you're like, there's a pattern here. This is how it happens. And when somebody starts a business, usually it's because they're filling some kind of need, some kind of want. Mm-hmm. And what I've come to know is that that's called a problem. Right. So if you find a problem, and sometimes and this is why I said it's God-driven, because we're given, where we have God-given gifts. Right. And talents, and then we get certain experiences and we become good at something, and we become better at stuff that we like being good at. Right. And then we become experts at it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I know how to set people up with s-corps and save $1 gazillion. That wasn't my plan. But that's what my super is. So now that I know that is the problem I solve, I can create a sequence that leads to people paying me money for that. And there's a science to it. So it's as simple as that. We overcomplicate everything. If you have and you don't need a lot of money either. That's another thing. You can't buy it. It's going to be work. So I don't know if I'm even answering the question now. So
you definitely are. There are a lot of gems in this. I'll have to go back and watch this again. We should have a watch party for this.
No, but yeah, well, you'll have it. You'll have it, and I'll have it, and we'll definitely repurpose.
We will. Thank you.
You're learning.
I am.
You learn quick. Oh my God.
And so question number 2, right? Tammy Jones from Huntsville, Alabama would like to know. So she says, many entrepreneurs have to wear so many hats. What are your recommendations to not develop burnout? I think this is a big one. You're the PR, you are sales, you are business development, you're content creator, like you're everything. So your recommendations to not develop burnout.
It's called self-care. A very simple concept that my mother, my grandmother, my family instilled, but for some reason I forget.
Don't we all?
It's so easy to forget because we get wrapped up in what we're doing. But the great thing is our body, our minds, our souls have reminders.
Right.
And one of them is you start feeling sick, you start feeling tired, and then you got to go to the doctor, which is what I did last Monday. Cause I told my business coach, I'm telling my business coach that I'm feeling lethargic. And he said, well, when was the last time you had a physical? And I'm talking to a medical doctor here. And I was like, oh yeah. I go to the doctor and he asked me a couple of questions and he's like, well, do you walk at all? Well, not since COVID.
Right, because we're all indoors.
Well, they told me I had to stay in. Right. So I took that literally and I didn't. Right. But that happened over like 3 months. And I remember I said, you know what? Yeah, all of a sudden now 2 weeks later, I'm like, I have energy. So and there's no way around it.
Right.
There's no, so every day I invest 2 hours of either walking, stretching, meditating. Now, in the past, my mindset was, I can't afford to spend 2 hours. But now I can't afford not to. And then you got to eat right. And you got to do everything that your whoever raised you probably told you already. You got to brush your teeth. You got to do this. You got to wash behind your ears. But but we forget as entrepreneurs, and I don't know because I'm an entrepreneur, and I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is how we all are. We just forget, or we say we forget, or maybe we just think we can get away with it. I don't know, but it's a great question. And I actually have some friends that are building businesses on self-care for nurses. They should, I think we should have a self-care for entrepreneurs. Maybe
Right.
that's a new business we could start.
That would be, and it's so important and just so necessary. I think it's just so key into a very vital part of just being successful in life. Because what I found, just like you said, if you look at the like top performers, high achievers, they do have very high standards of self-care and things they do, and a personal trainer, and just all of those things. And I 100% understand and agree. Yes, that is so key.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a guy, Tom Brady. He's a football player. They say the best quarterback that ever lived, or the best ever. Do you know that he was like a fifth string hurt? They didn't want, because he was so out of shape, so unhealthy. He had like one of the worst, like they time you and you're just looking at him. The guy looked like why are you here? And what did he do? He took care of himself. He changed his diet. I mean, and to this day, he put the work in. I mean, and he's just like proof that says, listen, just because you're like this, the guy became arguably the greatest ever.
Right.
And you look at a YouTube video. When I saw this, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I probably could have, well, no, not me.
You never know.
But and I believe, that has to do with your mindset. And it's just, the only regret I have is that it took me 60 years to finally understand that.
And I
Self-care.
think self-care, that is just so key. And it's interesting because it's a major part of the work that we do with survivors at Dr. Flo's place. So self-care, beyond that self-love, is so key to recovery. And I think just to success in life generally, self-care is, we can't cut corners without self-care. So, and thank you.
Thank you.
And our final question, did I miss something?
No, I said, we're on the third question already?
Yeah, we are. Time flies.
Okay.
So, how do I choose a business coach? There's so many coaches out there, so many businesses, so many coaching models, just so much to choose from. How do I choose a business coach?
How did you choose?
It's divine intervention. honestly, and I'm not, I'm really serious here. It's divine intervention. We connected, and I just knew that this was my next step. I think I said that literally, you're my next step, because I'd been on this journey of, I'd known for a while that this work was tied to my purpose, but I didn't know how to do it. So I was looking at it as offering a service and wanting to help and just wanting to give back, because I've come so far, for those who know my story, that this things weren't always like this. This Dr. Flo wasn't always like this. It's been a whole journey, but I've had tons and tons of support. And that's why that's always been my emphasis, that survivors can totally recreate their lives, but with the right kind of support. And so I've been on this journey and struggling to, didn't know what I was doing, but just going right on. And eventually I met you, and things just fell into place. I was on a call with Haley Gray, a good friend over at WEN, and she's just amazing and awesome at connecting people
Yes.
and giving back and just teaching and just giving and giving and giving. And it's the same thing. She says, I think you should talk with this person. And yeah, here we are today.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So
my journey.
And so that's great answer. And I'm glad that we connected. And the way that I found my coach is very similar. Well, let's say no, it's not that similar. I met this guy a long time ago.
Okay.
And what it was I said, I don't know how, but if I ever have the chance, I want to hire Larry Broughton as my business coach, because he's one of the, he's a big executive, entrepreneur of the year, former Green Beret. I'm pretty much scared of the guy. He could probably kill you 18,000 different ways.
Wow.
Anyway, I said, if I ever have a chance, even if I don't need a coach, I'm going to hire him. And just like you said, divine intervention, COVID happened. He reached out with an email saying something about his hotels needed help. And we connected again. And the opportunity I forget exactly how it wound up, but I guess I asked him, he said, can I help in any way? And I said, yeah. And jokingly, I said, do you do any coaching? And sometimes, even the guys like Richard Branson, you find out they all have a few people that they're coaching, which is pretty amazing. So it doesn't matter what level, and it's almost like what you said, you want to give back. So,
exactly.
The point here is that I want to make, and Elizabeth is watching again. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi,
and we have a few other people. If anybody has any questions for Dr. Flo, you could post them here. I've sort of been oblivious. I've just been having this conversation with you, Dr. Flo. But here's the thing, and this is important, because what we do as entrepreneurs, and we actually had this sort of conversation this morning,
yes,
is we get all enthusiastic. And we want to do, you just want to find the right people that are going to tell you the right thing to do. Just tell me how much it's going to cost and I'll do it. And I've done that. And I've just seen so many people just throw money away. And not that there's bad people out there that'll just take your money, but there's also good people that you're not a fit with, but they can sell you. So the thing is, if you want to spend money on a coach, you got to spend the time, get to know what kind of coach do you want? I've had marketing coaches. Now, Larry isn't a marketing coach. I look at him more like as like a strategic advisor. Right. To me, he's like a general. I'm like, I'm just going to give you the big picture and tell me where to move all the soldiers around.
Love that analogy. Love that example.
So, you got to have, and you and I, we click, I give you direction, you follow it, you get results. And that's what you need. And it's not easy. It's like, go find a husband. Or how about this? Go find somebody that you'll enjoy having a date with. It's a relationship.
Right.
And so the way that, there's things you could do to put yourself out there, like what you did, exactly what you did. You put yourself in social media, you surrounded yourself with people, and that's what I did. You see, that's what I saw as similar. I was in a mastermind. I had hundreds of people around me, and I could pick and choose. So don't go rushing into, and there's people, Haley and I actually spoke about this a lot. There's coaches out there that'll charge you $30,000. And they're like, oh my God, like Tony, if you could get Tony Robbins to coach you. And I've seen people literally, I had clients that spent $100,000 on a coaching program. And I don't like that. I don't believe in that. So what you got to do is, I guess, and I'm not a relationship expert. My friend Susan Shepard is. I should get her on here. Right. But I don't know if finding a coach is that much. Maybe Elizabeth knows, but you got to have that connection.
Yes.
And you don't just go out and hire somebody. You talk to people like Elizabeth. You talk to people like Haley Gray. And you don't jump into anything. And I think that's what we spoke about today, because now you're meeting all kinds of people, you're getting into all kinds of you're getting invited to different groups, and that's just going to get more and more. And then you'll get the people that all of a sudden, and I know Elizabeth was just in one of these, you get invited to like a free event, and you get a free ticket, and you spend 3 days, getting mesmerized by all of these, shiny objects. Right. And at the end, they're pitching you for a $25,000 coaching program. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that was a good question. Yes. I hope I answered.
You did. So, as you know, I'm a huge believer in coaching. I believe there's something about connecting with the right person, just as you said, and not following the shiny object, right? So not getting distracted, and just making sure there's a connection and there's a resonance between what the coach does and what you do or what you hope to do. And I think that's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Truly insightful. And so those are our 3 questions, plus 1 bonus. If you'd like to learn more about how you will win at business, how can we reach you? Time with Joe.
Oh, so if you want to win at business, which thank you for plugging me, which is pretty simple. You wind up with more money in your account than you started out with, just like in Monopoly. Actually, no, Monopoly you want to bankrupt everybody. That's not the idea. But we want to win at business, and you can timewithjoe.com. talk to you about your business. Don't connect with me to pitch me. I was just talking to Larry about this. For some reason, a lot of people do that. And if you want to talk to me about, setting up a business, getting organized, time with Joe.
So timewithjoe.com to connect with Joe Dichara. And this is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. And to all our queens out there, it's your time to thrive. Have a great rest of your day.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
How do people connect with you and queens that thrive? Because I don't know if I told you this, but we're not just broadcasting in your Queens That Thrive. We're in Ailey Gray's group. We're in my group. You knew that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do all of these people, now we're connected, Dr. Flo. I think that you can't leave them hanging. You got to give them a way to get in touch with you.
Right. Thank you for that. So you can connect with me the same way, timewithdrflo.com. And my calendar is open for the whole of August and September, actually. I'm available to talk with you if you are looking to learn more about what we do at Dr. Flo's Place. And speaking of Dr. Flo's Place, we have a free PDF downloadable that shares 5 principles of parenting a child who has seen you survive abuse or loss. And if you head on over to drflowsplace.org, it's one word, no apostrophe, drflowsplace.org. Have a look at our website and do reach me, connect with me. I'd love to talk with you. timewithdrflo.com. And thank you for reminding me to do that, Joe. Truly appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure, Dr. Flo. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is
All
it.
right.
Great rest of your day. My day is starting over here in Tokyo. And we'll be back next month at Dr. Flo's Place. 3 questions with another expert. Have a great one. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good night, everybody. God